Welcome to another episode of In Between Homes. Today I am hosting Alice. Welcome, Alice. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you, Lucy.
Tu m'entends?
I've got my baby Luca here with me. He was supposed to be napping, but he decided to wake up just as we got on the call.
Just to be with us today. So, Alice, where is home for you?
Um, okay, so at the moment, I'm currently living in Australia, in the hinterland of Byron Bay, and yeah, this would be my home. I don't know if you want me to develop more on that.
Yes, please.
Okay, so for those who don't know me, I was born here in Australia, but my dad is French and my mum is Balinese. And my whole life, I was always wondering, where is home?
Mm.
And not long ago, I actually discovered a new meaning of home for myself. So, a lot of people growing up, especially, people, when they ask me this question and I wasn't really able to give a straightforward answer, they would say, well, where are you born? And so for them, home is where you were born. But I never felt Australian because I didn't have any Australian blood in me. I was born in Australia, but my culture was more French and more Balinese. So that definition of home being where you were born is didn't fit with me. Then others say, well, where do you feel at home? As if home was a feeling. And funny enough, I didn't feel at home anywhere because it felt like people didn't really make me feel at home. So I was giving the power to others to make me feel at home. What I mean by that is that even though I go to Bali and I'm half Balinese, the Balinese people will see that I'm also half French. So they won't consider me, as a Balinese. Or if I go to France, people will see that I'm not 100% French. And so they won't consider me as a French. So everywhere I didn't have this feeling of, belonging 100%. And recently, when we moved to Australia with my now husband 6 years ago, and I had this interaction at the airport where the security agent at the airport took my passport. And because I had an Australian passport, he said to me, welcome home. And it was the first time that someone had said that, had said that to me, welcome home. Because when I go to France with my French passport, no one ever says, welcome home. But here he said, welcome home. And that's when I realized that for me, home is where you choose it to be, where you decide it to be. So I'm no longer going to let other people decide whether or not I belong in this or that country. It's where I choose it to be home. And so I've chosen consciously that home today is here, Australia. It's where I'm living and where I feel happy, where both my two kids are born. And yeah, I love this country. And so today I can say proudly, home is Australia.
Wow, such a journey. And yeah, sometimes it needs just a little declic to actually start. Now I'm home. Like it's something in the brain, or maybe also, like seeking outside. And I can relate to this feeling of, yeah, you are half here, so you are half from here, but people still consider you as a foreigner. And even though you speak the languages, even though you know the culture, you are like legit, I would say, people still like see you as the other side, not local. So I think home is a decision, and you just beautifully explain it, is where you are now, is where you feel happy, is where your husband and kid are. It's this sense of how creating your own family.
Yes, and I think it's empowering when you decide that for yourself
Mm,
rather than let other people decide it for you. As I was saying, rather than saying, making others make you feel at home. It's not up to them, it's up to you.
mm. This is a beautiful, yeah, way of seeing that. If we look at your life 10 years ago, how was your life, Alice, 10 years ago?
10 years ago, that's a good question. 10 years ago, I had just finished my studies in hospitality management. So I studied in France and I got a master's degree in hospitality management, thinking I would, use my skills of speaking different languages, of having, different cultural backgrounds, to work in hotels where I would, be surrounded by people with different cultures and who spoke different languages. So I had just finished that degree, and a friend of my dad had found me on Facebook. He knew me since I was a small child, and he said, "Why don't you come work in Australia?" And that was like the first kind of opportunity that was presented to me after I finished my master's degree, was come to Australia. So I took that. I said, okay, I was, 22, 23 at the time. And I had the Australian passport. I hadn't been back in Australia in over 13 years. So again, Australia was not home. I don't have any relatives in Australia. We all moved out of Australia when I was 10 years old. But I thought of it like, I have nothing to lose. Let's go. So I came to Australia and I got my first job in a 5-star hotel, working as front office, and quickly became a manager on duty. And yeah, so that was my life 10 years ago, working in a corporate environment.
Wow. And if we look at your life today, is it very different?
Completely.
Can you tell us a little bit of the journey, of maybe what has been the key moment helping you to make decision to transition to who you are today?
Um, I think there is, first of all, like, I think you have to understand that life is a journey. Often we want to get to the end point. We want to get to now, where I am now. But every single step in my last 10 years have led me to this moment. I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for every single journey, every single little decision that happened. So, for example, after coming to Australia and working in that 5-star hotel for 3 years, I did a sort of burnout and decided I wanted just to leave. I wanted to leave the country. I wanted to leave the job. It was like a very radical decision. And in that time, I traveled a little bit, and a friend of mine who lives in France, who's French, who I had met in my master's degree, said to me, "Hey, why don't you come to Chile? I'm going there." Again, it's one of those opportunities where you hadn't thought of it, but you just go with the flow. So he said, "Come to Chile." And I ended up going to Chile. And in Chile, I ended up finding a job working as a tour guide, which again was nothing to do with what I had learned. That in this job as a tour guide, we were horseback riding, we were hiking mountains, doing mountain biking, things I had never done before. And but in that job, I gained, skills of working one-on-one with people. Sometimes we would trek a whole day and I only had one client to take on my journey. And I remember this powerful feeling of just connecting with people. And I think that's what I've always wanted in my whole life, is to connect. Even as I was working in hospitality, what I loved was connection. Anyways, fast forward, I met my husband in that job and we decided to move back to Australia. This was in end of 2018. I went back to a job again, in a 9-to-5 job this time, which was something I had never experienced before, having worked in hospitality my whole life. I had a 9-to-5 job in a real estate agency. And one day I remember, just after a year working in that job, I just felt this sense of, what am I doing with my life? Like, what am I doing in this meaningless job where I just didn't feel connected? I just didn't feel valued. And one day I remember not being able to get out of bed. My body was saying, you're not going to work today. You can't go to work today. And I had never, ever called in sick my whole life. I've always been the employee that would show up to work, even with fever, even with whatever it was, I would always show up. It was, just one of those ethics that I had, that you have to, you have to be professional and you can't call in sick. But that was the first time I called in sick. And I think that was, like you were saying, what was the click in the switch in my mind that led me to where I am today? It was that was a turning point. Yes. So after that day where I called in sick, I think in that same week, I decided to resign from my job. And I thought, I'll go back to France to visit some family. So I had a plane ticket to go to France, and just the week before flying, the borders shut with COVID. So I was stuck in Australia, couldn't fly, and without a job. And I thought, why did I quit that job? Why did I do that? What am I going to do now?
But you were with your husband, right? And it was not yet your husband at the time, but you were having kind of emotional support in that journey.
Yes, I've always had the support of my husband. He was on his own journey of entrepreneurship. So yes, we did have each other, which was great. But he had his own business. He was starting his own business. So he would go to work. He had his work, and I would stay home and be like, what am I going to do with myself?
And how was this feeling for you of not knowing and maybe not valuing yourself at all at this moment? Do you remember?
I think when I took the decision to quit the job, it was a relief. I think I was feeling worse in a secure job, but where I felt my potential was going to waste, than being without a job, not knowing where I was going, but there was this sense of, you're doing the right thing. It was really this feeling of freedom, and you're going to find what you have to do.
Wow. Yes. It's like you don't know yet what's coming, but you knew you were on the right path.
Yes, yes.
And
Like
how
I
did
said, my
you?
body told me, my body, that day when my body said, you're not going to work, and I really couldn't like get out of bed. It was as if I was paralyzed in bed, which was the first time it had ever happened to me. I knew I had to change. I had to shift.
Mm. And how did you transition to what you are doing today? What was the steps? How did you
Um,
find your purpose, I would say, because now I see
yes.
you as working on purpose.
Um, so what I'm going to share is what I actually share with my clients who are always saying, I don't know what I'm meant to do with my life, or yeah, what is my purpose? This is what I did. And I did this kind of intuitively. Like it's not something that I had read or I had learned. I just started doing it. I started writing down a list of my qualities. I started writing down a list of the things that I wanted in my life, a list of the things that I wanted in my future job. So at this stage, I wasn't even looking at being an entrepreneur. It was just like, what is the ideal job for me? So I started writing things like, I want a job where I can speak, the four languages that I know, not just speak English every day. I want to be able to speak French, Spanish, English, Indonesian. Like that's who I am. Then it was, I want the freedom to be able to travel. So, however that might look like, maybe a job that will allow me to travel more, but I need to travel because my husband is from Chile and my family is half French, half Balinese, which means I have family in France, I have family in Chile, and I have family in Bali. So for me, it was important this notion of I can travel with my work. Then I also was getting to a point where I wanted to have a family. I knew I was going to have a family. I've always wanted to be a mother. So it was clear to me that I would need a job where I would have time for my kids, for my future kids. So I just started writing that all down on a piece of paper. I also started watching YouTube videos of, coaches like Tony Robbins, um, who would inspire me, just to be inspired, to feel like, okay, I need to listen to people who are inspiring me. And I think that happened for maybe, 1 or 2 months where I was just doing that every day, something. A friend of mine in Canada also told me to do the 21-day abundance challenge from Deepak Chopra. And that was also incredibly powerful in that moment because, as I said, I was without a job. I didn't know when I would find a job again. But that challenge of abundance really, really helped me shift my lack of my scarcity mindset or fear of not having money. And I don't know if it's also the power of internet with the algorithm, because I was watching these YouTube videos of inspirational leaders. One day, an ad popped up with Marissa Peer, who is a renowned therapist in the world. And she created her own modality of hypnotherapy called rapid transformation therapy. And the ad was about her school of RTT, where she would teach people to do what she was doing. And because I had I was clear on what I wanted. I had done that list that I mentioned before. When that ad popped up, it was speaking to me. It was telling me directly, this is for you. And I just felt it. I felt it in my whole body that that was what I was meant to do. That this is the money I had saved up, all of the knowledge I had gained, whether it was in the hospitality work, whether it was as a tour guide in Chile, all of the experiences that I had led me to that moment. So I took a leap of faith and I decided to join the school in that same week without even doing more research, I had never heard of hypnotherapy before. I had never gone to therapy myself, but I just, again, trusted and I decided, okay, I'm going to join this school, which was online because we were still in COVID. And I trained with Marissa Peer for a year, and then I qualified as a certified hypnotherapist and rapid transformation therapist. And I've been doing that now for the past 4 years. And it is my purpose in life. Like you said, like, what is your purpose? I wanted to share something actually about your purpose.
Yeah.
I read it actually, Marissa Peer says this. When you do what you love, your life has meaning.
Mm.
And when you share it with the world, your life has purpose. And that is so powerful. It means that if you're right now feeling like you're in this job that you hate, or you feel like your life has no meaning, it's because you need to reconnect to what it is that you love. Because whatever we love, we are good at. In my case, I've always loved helping others. I've always loved connecting with people. That's what I've always loved. Which is why when I started this course, I was so good at it because I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
And now that I'm using it to share my skills with the world, my life has purpose.
Wow. Thank you, Alice, for sharing this journey, and more particularly for everyone that is maybe asking itself some question about what my purpose, or what my life doesn't have meaning. You actually very well describe a path of getting clarity first. Really, what do I want? Like, what kind of job and what do I need? Projecting yourself already as a mom, is so important, because you would have made different choices if you didn't really integrate the fact that you wanted to be mom in a year, 2 or 3 years later. And so by gaining this clarity and getting clear on that, and taking the time to ask yourself those questions is so important. So everyone that listened today are a bit like, oh, maybe I would like something more fulfilling in my life. This is the path. Start questioning yourself about what would you want and how would you want it. And then after the right question come, as Alice mentioned, surrounding yourself with inspiring people. And I did the same during the COVID. Like, you may not have them directly in your circle of friends and family, but it's okay, because nowadays with internet and YouTube, it's so easy to get the right podcast in your ears and all of that. You feed yourself really with inspiration and people who have done it and living it, so it's inspiring you to make it happen. And then the last step is like saying yes and taking a leap of faith on something that is just speaking to you. Like, she never heard about this RTT therapy before, and this modality, but then it just make sense at the time. So what I came to me is this image that you connected the dot really of the whole journey, your whole life that came up together. And then, oh yeah, this is all Alice. Then now I'm connecting the dot and it's becoming who I am today. And I'm able to do what I love, but also to give this back to people. So and thank you for this quote about purpose, because I think it's so making so much sense. You know, you do it first for yourself and then after you share it with the world. So do you want to share a little bit more about what does RTT and why clients come to you and how you can support them?
Yes. Yeah, so actually, I didn't finish saying how this work of being a hypnotherapist really connected all the dots, because first of all, I'm working with clients all over the world thanks to Zoom. So I can travel. When I travel to Chile, I'm still working with clients. When I travel to Bali, I'm still working with clients. So that I have that, I gain that flexibility that I was looking for to travel with my work. I've gained I tick the dots, how do you say, I tick
The
the
box.
checklist on the boxes. I tick the boxes on speaking different languages because I work with clients in Spanish, French, and English. And because I'm my own boss, I get to choose how many days a week I want to work, and I let my schedule fit with my mom's schedule. So yeah, it's really been, you know, that checklist came to life.
Mm,
The
yes.
checklist of what I wanted for my job, what I wanted for my life, really came to life. So it's amazing, the power of I don't know if it's manifesting or having a vision, but yes, it really is amazing. So to answer your question, how does rapid transformation therapy work? Basically, I help clients discover their limiting beliefs, the root of whatever problem they are presenting with. And through hypnosis, we find, what are the blocks in their subconscious mind, and we reframe it to a more positive, more empowering belief that will, transform their lives.
Wow. Yes. So you're supporting people that feel like, okay, they have a blockage or a limitation. They don't know maybe from where it's coming from, and then you're supporting them in their transformation. So yeah, it's so
Right.
important.
So most people don't know why they have the problem that they have. So, I work with people who have a lack of confidence in themselves, and they don't know why. They just know that they're not 100%, comfortable in their own skin, or in relationships, or with money. They just know that they're not 100%. They don't know why. And so through the session, we discover the why it is that they feel the way they feel today. People, so with anxiety, with depression, with it could be anything really. I really work with everything, and people who can't fall pregnant, and there's no medical reason behind it, but they know that there's somewhere in their mind that is stopping them from falling pregnant.
Mm.
So even things that are physical, it's really amazing. I've worked with a client who had migraines his whole life. He was in his 40s, and he's had migraines for over 30 years. And in one session, we were able to remove the migraines, because it had nothing to do with the physical thing. He had seen he had seen brain surgeons, neurologists, and there was nothing wrong in his brain. It was all linked like to the mind, to the emotional side.
Wow. And so you really help people to understand the why this is happening for them, why it's blocking them maybe, and unlocking, I would say, the unconscious root cause that is in our system. And then, yeah, it's so important. So it's if someone listen and then, oh, there's something we can't explain, that medicine can't explain. Yeah, maybe it's a good to reach out to see if Alice can support you. And now if we have a look to your entrepreneurial journey, how has been this? I would say it's always a roller coaster for most of the people. So how has been for you maybe the easy way, and what has been the most difficult for you?
I think the most difficult step is letting go of the belief that you can't do it. That was for me the most difficult step. I had this belief that being your own boss, being an entrepreneur, wasn't meant for me. I was like, this is too big for me. I don't know where to start. I think that was the biggest block that I faced, not believing that it was actually possible. And I would say I have to thank my husband for that, because as I mentioned, he has his own business, and he was just like me. He had spent his whole life working for someone else, and when he came to Australia, he decided, I'm going to start something I've never done before, and he decided to become a shoemaker. So he makes shoes, his own shoes, and I remember the first time he told me he was going to do that, I was like, how? Like, you don't know how to make shoes. Why? And again, it all came back to, I want to do something that I love. And what he loved was, working with his hands. And he said, I'll just give it a try. So when I saw that he was able, being Chilean in Australia, with no experience at all, to create his own business, that really opened up my mind and my belief in myself that if he can do it, I can do it too. That was the biggest, the biggest block that I had to face.
Wow.
Just the belief in yourself.
Yeah, and you also got inspired. At first, you tried to stop your husband, I would say, by, hey, why you don't want to do that? You never done that before. And this is something that if someone is listening today and wants to create something for the first time, your circle, your friends, your family will stop you, will try to stop you, as Alice did with her husband, and she just explained it. Why you want to do that? You don't know. And yes, but he wanted to give it a try. And by just removing the pressure, he didn't say, I want to make a $1 billion business out of that. He just wanted to give it a try to something he loves. And I think when you have the intention and the motivation from something that is pure, and of course there is like obstacle and things along the way, but then he just wanted to give it a try. And doesn't mean it's not a hard try, because it's a journey, but he wanted it so much and he make it happen. And then it's inspiring you to actually do the same for you. This is a beautiful journey, how two people living under the same roof can also inspire each other and move toward, both of you, from corporation to more entrepreneurial, having more time for your family. And I know it's a strong value for both of you, and making this life where regardless where you live, you can still go back to the other homes of your family and be present. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, overcoming beliefs is one of those. Did you have in the business development? Often we, face the problem of finding clients. How has been this journey for you?
No, I think even before I graduated, again, when you are doing something that was meant for you, the universe will support you.
Yes.
That's why it's called your life purpose. You were put on this earth with a purpose, and whatever talent, whatever gift the universe gave you, it will support you in making it happen.
Mm. Yes.
So before I even graduated my school and I was learning about all these skills, I was already, telling people, oh, I'm currently studying rapid transformation therapy. And people just knowing me, there was like, I can't wait to try it with you. So clients actually came quite easily. Yeah, I think I would have more clients, but I also have this balance of being a mum,
Yes.
which is important for me too. So yeah, I've never really doubted this like the question of will I find clients? Never.
Yes. And you mentioned something very important that when you are on purpose, things become in a way easier because you are aligned with, your gift, what is natural to you, and what is you is different. Like if we look at Alice or compared to me, it's totally different path because it's different gift. And every single of us have a gift to share. And it's why we call it finding our purpose. But our purpose is just we have it already, it's just life is trying to put us in a different direction to make things more, I would say standard or following a path that others have created for us. But then when you lean into what do you want, what do you love, this is where your purpose is reconnecting with you. So where it's like, okay, this is so much ease actually. This is where life become uh, easier and more enjoyable, where everything can balance between being a mom, being supporting others, like being sharing your gift. So yeah, thank you for bringing that aspect, because often people focus on I will never find the client and all of that, and putting the wrong focus on things.
Energy, the wrong
Yeah,
energy
the wrong
out there.
energy out there. Okay. And so the now that you have two kids, and your business and everything, has been after 4 years, you mentioned your business. Um, is it easy for you to manage your work-life balance? Because I guess often either the kids or the business can take over. So how have you been able to really find your balance in all of that? And maybe, yeah, how did you manage to uh, make sure you are not giving up on the things that are important for you?
I think it was important for me first to set my expectations. So, for example, when I fell pregnant with my first daughter, Elena, I had just graduated the RTT course. And I knew that I didn't want to give up the RTT course. I didn't want to say, okay, I'm just going to put that on hold, and when I stop being a mother, I can go back to it. I said I'm going to integrate both. I didn't want to put Elena in daycare as well. I wanted to be a full-time mom. So I made sure, I'm grateful and lucky that my husband is also super supportive, and he has his own business. which allowed this flexibility between us of when, if I can have even 3 hours a week where he looks after the baby, then that's enough time for me to work with one client a week. Right? So it doesn't have to be, like you said, I'm not looking at making billions. I'm not looking at having a 9 to 5 job where I have a client every single day. But if I can have one client a week, then that fills my cup. That makes me happy. And I get to be both the full-time mom that I want to be, as well as the entrepreneur that I am.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's so clear with you, Alice, that you are very taking always the time to be super clear on what you want and how you want it. And those chapter of life is like, yeah, I want to be a full-time mom, not a part-time or not like just after 5 p.m. and not seeing your kids whole day. You want to be with them, and maybe in a year from now it's going to be a little bit different if you decide so. But it has been super clear in your journey that by gaining clarity on what you want and expect, this is where life is delivering to you, and you are not setting yourself as, okay, I need to make 10K a month or whatever. Yeah, maybe one day you want that or more focus, but it's like it still has to be balanced with all the other things that you want in your life. So thank you for being such a great example of what is possible in that regard, and giving a new way of entrepreneurship, because it's not about becoming a esclave or like a lock to your business. It's really making the business work for you in the way that it's fitting in your schedule, in the way that it's feeding you as well in terms of satisfaction and fulfillment, but it's not you as giving up everything for your business. So yeah.
Or everything for my kids, correct?
Mm.
Um, I think I was sorry, I was going to say something, I just lost track. Oh, it will come back to me.
Yeah, do you want to speak maybe about the motherhood journey of, maybe having uh, the expectation of being a good mom or something like this? I like, you were still doing your business, did you have some pressure from your circle to become the best mom, or how did you live your motherhood basically?
Um, I think, yeah, all mothers will feel pressure on becoming the best mom, on making sure that they're present enough for their kids, that they spend enough time with their kids. My biggest takeaway in this motherhood journey is don't compare yourself to other mums, and don't compare your child to other children. We are all on our unique journey, on our unique path in motherhood. And it's really important to just trust yourself, trust your intuition as a mother to know what is best for you and your child. So
Mm.
for me, that was, for example, with my daughter, the decision that I wasn't ready for her to be in daycare until she was 2 years old, even though those were the first 2 years of me being in my business. And of course, I wanted to launch my business. I wanted to be successful in my business, but my priority as a mom was I wanted to be with her in those first 2 years. So you will always find it will always work out in the end. If there's if there's a will, there's a way, as we say. And that's what happened. That's what happened. I was able to still, maybe in the beginning, only have one client a month. not one a week, one a month. But that was already amazing. That was enough. That was, yeah, it was enough. And you will also attract clients who are meant for you. When I say this, for example, now that I've got the second one with Luca, I find clients who are happy to be more flexible with my mum schedule. For example, what we did today, when I messaged you and I said, hey, Luca is actually asleep now. Can we do the meeting earlier? I do the same thing with my clients, and my clients are always happy when to be that, to give me that flexibility. They're always like, yeah, no problem at all. I'm like, I'm 15 minutes late. I'm just going to feed Luca before I hand him over to his father, and I'll be with you. That's fine. Take your time. Always, always, always. So, yeah. And I think if a client doesn't have that flexibility, then that client isn't for me.
Yes, yes to that, because you are showing that you are owning yourself and owning your whole life, in terms of you are not hiding the fact that you are mom, not hiding the fact that you prioritize your family, and also, you need to the care that you need to give to your children now because they are still very young. You are, owning in so much that of course people accept, because or at least those who are good fit for you, because it's like, yeah, of course she's like making it. And for me, it's like, even this morning I was like, yeah, actually it's even better if we start earlier, because then I can do my other stuff after. So it's where life is flowing, and owning yourself like this, it's helping the whole flow, and the flexibility is giving a new insight to even the people that work with you. It's like, oh, it's actually possible. It's possible to have a business and be a mom, fully present, and still like do both. And this is
Yeah.
where most of people see, oh, it's either or the other one, but not both. And yes, both is possible.
Yes, and when I'm with my clients, I give them 100% of myself, It's like, because when I'm with my clients, I will hand over Luca to Andres, and he looks after Luca while I'm with my clients. But like I know that it is possible to be 100% a mum, and to be 100% uh, a not a business owner, but 100% the therapist that I am when I'm with my clients.
Yes. And for me, I learned developing more my present and being in a present moment in Bali. Do you think it's something in your DNA, maybe from your roots, or is something you have learned to be really present in what you do?
No, I think it came later with life. I think it comes with the older you get, the wiser you get, I think. I definitely wasn't present, in my 20s, or it came later on. But yes, Bali has helped me a lot with becoming more present in everything that I do, even the smallest things, such as cooking or enjoying the food that I'm having, is this concept of be in the present moment. Definitely, I learned that from Bali as well.
Yes. And it's leading me to abundance. Earlier, you were mentioning the 21 days with Deepak Chopra. So this meditation are amazing. And I'm going to share the link below as well for those who are listening, because it has been a transformative journey for me as well on those meditation. They are so profound and so helpful to open up a next level of actually what is abundance, what is to have an abundance mindset. Do you want to share a little bit more about your relationship with money and your finances?
Yeah, so I grew up with a scarcity mindset. I grew up with a father, a French father, who was always saying, money doesn't grow on trees, money doesn't buy happiness, rich people are arrogant. So I had a very, very negative mindset towards money. And my whole life, I had to always make sure that I was saving enough money, and always this fear of there will never be enough money, right? And when COVID happened and I had lost my job, of course, I was in that fear of what am I going to do? I don't have a job and no one is hiring at the moment. So there was this fear around money that came up again. As I said, my friend in Canada, which is a friend that I had met in my studies. Again, sometimes we think, we study something. I studied hospitality management only to, to study for 5 years, to work in it for maybe 3 years and realize that's not what I want to do. But it's thanks to that study that I met this person. So everything happens for a reason, I guess. And she told me, let's do the 21-day Deepak Chopra abundance meditations. Of course, I had the time, so I said yes. Even if you don't have the time, it's 15 minutes a day. It's really, really worth it. But thanks to that, I realized that I had this scarcity mindset. I wasn't really conscious of it before, I think. And I started noticing more abundance in my life after that, being grateful for the little things. That abundance isn't just about money, but it's also about the beauty that you see everywhere, bringing back to the notion of being present, being fully present, to now when I see a bird outside of my window on the tree, I take a moment to, wow, look at that, kookaburra just there, it's amazing, things like that. But if I hadn't done that 21-day challenge, when the ad of Marissa Peer to join the school popped up, I probably would have said, oh no, that's too much money for me. I can't afford studying this course, I can't afford spending that money on this course. It's too much. And I really think the 21-day challenge was what got me across and say, you can do this. Money will come and go. Money is available. You are abundant. And that allowed me to do that course and to lead me to where I am today. So that 21 days was very powerful.
Can you tell us a little bit more how you date your finances?
Yes, it's a concept that you, Lucy, introduced me to, which has been a game changer for me as an entrepreneur. Basically, thanks to this magic spreadsheet that you've created that is so simple to use, every month I sit down for about half an hour or an hour, and I go and export my bank account, my bank transactions into the spreadsheet, and it allows me to see, where I'm spending my money, whether on the personal and on the business side, and the money that comes in. And it just gives you that much more clarity on where there's room for improvement. I remember one of the big things that came up when I first started doing this with you was my coffee expense. I love coffee, and every single time you go buy a coffee here in the shop, it's at least $6 if you have oat milk instead of cow's milk. And that led me to, I'm going to stop buying coffee outside and I'm going to invest in a coffee machine. So now I've got my coffee machine, and I've really seen how that has, saved money. So that's a small example on my personal side. But if you multiply that to all the different categories, all the different things that you could do that with, it really makes a big, big difference. And in my business side, the first time I went to my tax accountant with this spreadsheet, she was like, "You've done the job already. You don't need me." Really? And she just showed me how, thanks to the spreadsheet, I just need to put this number in this box and done. My end of the year tax is done in 5 minutes because of the consistent work that I do each month by dating my finances. Amazing.
Congratulations to you, because it's what you exactly explained. It's by looking at it half an hour to 1 hour every month that remove all the stress for, when it comes to the tax filing and having this pressure. Oh my God, where are the data? So by doing the job a little bit every month, you save so much time at the end of the year, but also I would say stress and anxiety around that. So congratulations, Alice, and thank you for sharing your journey with Date Your Finances. And did you has been helping you for making maybe investment in your business?
Yes, definitely. I've been able to put a figure on how much money I've earned this year with the clients that I have. And with that same money, I've been able to reinvest in different courses. Since my rapid transformation therapy course, I then invested in rapid transformation coaching. So I'm now also a certified coach. And this year I've invested in a parenting course, conscious parenting course. So yes, definitely thanks to seeing my numbers, seeing how much comes in, how much comes out. I now know I have a better clarity on where I can invest money and how much I can invest.
Yes, and awareness, basically.
Yes, awareness.
Yes. Yeah, as you mentioned, most of us are not even aware of this scarcity mindset before, because we grow up hearing stuff from our parents, our family, and they don't do it on purpose, because even them, they just don't know, the only way they know. And it's where us, we are like, okay, is it still true? Is it true that money doesn't grow on trees? Maybe it doesn't, but it doesn't mean that opportunities cannot come from watching a tree or all those different things. So it's when you can have way more gratitude. And I know you practice a lot gratitude, so maybe I'm going to let you share about your gratitude journey.
Yes. So I wish I had time to do yoga every day, to do, meditations every day, there's so many self-care exercises that we could do, right? But one thing that I find is so easy and so powerful is to write down every single day 5 things that you're grateful for during your day. Because when we start focusing on the positive things in our day, whatever we focus on, we get more of that. It's such a simple, quick exercise, but that has a long-term benefit for your overall mindset, energy of, looking for more positive things, more things to be grateful in your life.
Yes.
So powerful.
Yeah, even when you have a bad day, looking at finding something that has been great. Maybe it's just I had time to have a coffee and or my coffee was warm or I had food on the table. It's the power of actually how you can upgrade your life. You need to acknowledge what you already have. This is, people who just want more, but are really like hating their current life doesn't get there because you need to to be so much in gratitude, so grateful about everything that you have already. Of course, life could be always better, nicer, and better. But it starts by, okay, observing all what you already have around you. And it's from that perspective that, oh, okay, you can welcome more. And it's where abundance is actually happening, is where it's like the whole world of infinite possibilities is coming to you. It's because you can perceive them. You can see the beauty when the opportunity is coming to you. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. And my last part for this interview today is a rapid five. So it's 5 questions with a short answer, I will say. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
So Alice, one thing you would love for your life right now?
Again, I am grateful for everything that I have. So I think one thing that I would love more because there's never enough of is more laughter. Laughing is powerful as well. More laughter in my life. You can
Yes,
never have enough.
I agree. One thing you would love for the world?
More peace.
Yes. The worst advice you have received?
Again, money doesn't bring happiness, or you have to work hard to earn money.
The best advice you have received?
There's no such thing as failure. There's only feedback.
Yes. And if you had a magic wand, what would you transform?
Change the fact that there's this notion of like geographical borders so that people could choose to travel or choose to live freely wherever they want, regardless of their passport.
I love that. I'm in. Thank you, Alice, for being here today. Thank you, Luca, for being with us and such a cute kid. Have a beautiful day and see you soon on another episode of In Between Homes.
Thank you, Lucy. Thanks for having us.